It's Debatable with Mark Gray here on MLBBro.com.
Welcome to Debatable, where we break you off with all the knowledge Black baseball related. I'm Mark Gray, joined today representing the Pacific Northwest is podcast extraordinaire Manny Brown. Nubius Wilborn joins us right now from the great city of Pittsburgh, source of my heartache as a youth, thanks to one Willie Stargell, and we're not going to even mention the highlight reel that includes the great Roberto Clemente. How are you, Nubius? We got the MLB Bro pitching staff. Everybody gets the chance to pick what will amount to be 4 starters and 2 hybrids. You can use a wild card in this new age that we're at right now, who may be the designated closer who starts at the top of the rotation. As my number 4 starter, I'm going to go with somebody close to you, Manny. I think Justice Sheffield at 3-3. He's got 31 Ks and 39 innings pitched right now. I like him on the back end of my rotation.
My number 4 starter, I am going to go with a young kid named Tristan McKenzie, fireballer for the Indians. He's kind of had a little bit of an up and down start to his season. He's typical young pitcher. Had a couple good starts and had a couple bad starts, so his ERA is a little inflated. I think his ERA is now at 5. The kid's got an electric arm.
I will go with someone who is a little old school here, still got some left. I still like David Price. It's tough because he's not quite what he used to be, but he's still got it, and I cannot have a rotation without him in it if I need it.
Manny, number 3 starter.
Number 3 for me would be Taijuan Walker. He has been an absolute steal to me. One of those pitchers that kind of was a late offseason pickup for the Mets, signed a 2-year deal, and he has probably been, outside of DeGrom, their best starting pitcher, pound for pound. He's dominated right now. I think he's got a 2.2 ERA. He's a dominant pitcher, man. He's finally starting to put it together.
So my number 3 starter, I'm going to stay right here in the DMV with Joe Ross. He has been a lot more consistent than we've seen during the course of his early stages of his career. He's just a victim of that one bad inning. If he doesn't have that one bad inning, he's great. I mean, I think he's got number 1 stuff. He's just got to be a little bit more consistent, keep the ball in the ballpark, and start working on getting the ball down. My number 2 starter, I think I'm going to roll, quite frankly, with David Price. Here's where I'm going to invoke the new school baseball card, where you take a closer and you start him, and then you fill out in the longer players on the back end. If I can do that with David Price and then still know I can go to him for an inning to get a couple of outs down later in the week, I like Price. What about you, Manny?
My number 2 starter is Marcus Stroman, another Met. Probably been the 3rd best pitcher on the staff this year. The Mets have a really good pitching staff. I think they lead the National League in ERA. Obviously, DeGrom, can't even say nothing about him, obviously. But Taijuan Walker, who I mentioned earlier, now Marcus Stroman, he's kind of come back to earth a little bit because he got off to a really hot start to start the season. His first 3 starts, he was lights out. He's kind of had a couple clunkers here and there. So he's doing really well, man. He's earning that contract. He signed that 1-year qualifying offer to come back to the Mets. So he's earning his money so far. He's given us innings. He's been dominant.
Stroman, to me, is my number 1 starter. The swag, the do-rag, the drop it in the bucket after a strikeout. And if I need somebody to get me a dub in a critical situation, the way he carries himself like a bulldog.
My number 1 starter, I'm actually going to go back to Mr. Sheffield. I really like what he's doing. I like his potential. I like where he's going. So that's what I'm going to roll with for now. I mean, there's guys coming up. There's guys like Carl Lewis Jr., there's other guys coming around, but right now, Sheffield, he's got a pretty good role. He's young and hungry. He's healthy, and he's in the mix.
My number 1 starter is going to be a little bit of an out of the box one. I haven't heard his name come up yet. I think he counts. Mr. Jack Flaherty, starting pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
He's leading the league in wins, 7-0. He's got a 2.4 ERA. He's in 47 innings. He struck out 48. He's got a .95 WHIP. So the kid is balling right now. He's pitching up to his potential. He's given that team a real lift. Yeah, he had a good 2019, struggled last year in the shortened season. I think this year he's finally starting to put it together again, a full season. If he stays healthy, I think he'll most definitely be in that Cy Young mix.
All right, anybody got hybrids they want to share?
Give me Keone Keller, man. With San Diego, I like what he's doing when he's right. That fastball tops out mid 90s, even he touches upper 90s. He was a middle reliever. He's closed. He's even started a bit. Always like guys like that. And plus, he's just an intense dude, man.
My wild card was actually David Price, the guy that you guys both listed for your rotations. I actually like him in that relief role. I kind of like him in that fireman role, a la an Andrew Miller type. I think he still has the stuff to do that. You could come in, with guys on base. He's got the temperament. He's been a reliever, obviously, early on in his career. So I like him in that role. And I also like him in a situation where he can kind of be a swingman. He can kind of give you depth out of the bullpen. You can have him start a game for you if you need to. And then we all know he can close. He still has that temperament. He still has that bulldog mentality. Maybe not the stuff, but he still has the ability in a pinch to get you some outs late in the ninth inning.
I'm going to use Taijuan Walker from the Mets as a hybrid because I feel like I can get the starting and long relief out of him. When you consider a 2.05 ERA as we speak, he's trending upward, 3 games above 500 lifetime. I like the way he's growing into his role. Not quite ready for the rotation yet, in my opinion. But the big one, hey, man.
I got one more. Oh.
Go ahead.
I got Taylor Hearn for the Texas Rangers, man. We hadn't mentioned that brother's name. He's had a pretty good sense. He's got an 0.2 WAR, respectable where he's at. And I think as a hybrid guy, he could definitely fit in the mix.
All right. And I'm going off the pro grid because I'm going to do what they did with Mike Moore, was it, back in the day? The A's pitcher came right from college and goes to the pros. I'm taking Kamar Rocker from Vanderbilt, boys.
Ooh.
Hey, dude.
Are you going there? Okay.
He box office, fellas. I
like that.
He's box office. I stick him on at the back end, make him a hybrid pitcher right now. I think we sell a lot of shoes. I think we sell a lot of baseball cards. And you'll have a run on the corner store where kids are chewing bubble gum. Fellas, thanks for joining us on Debatable this week as we break you off with the MLB Bro pitching staff. The question is, will baseball hear our voices? Thanks, fellas.
MLBBro.com, covering black and brown major leaguers.